Okay, and then I pay me more about GN Radio. So, Samray, we are telecasting live on www.gnradiouk.com and our Facebook Live GN Radio UK, YouTube and so GN Radio UK. Samray, say what mania? You're from a darling J. Legal hour and your day every week. And then legal hour Fortwell Solicitors. Daniel Coy. And then you know everybody to drink about our. Then so me tremu ama the usual host. Mama Ellen. Mama Ellen wotia de na echi kakra. Ntiene papa je osamia kasa me je akunya kase no na metra na me di dwumadi no hu abobo sanso na me producer Big Joe enso ewa ha ono so bom achi dom ema ye di dwumadi no e di abro kama na na dwumadi yi and ye baba twetwen hu enkomo eye indefinite leave to remain in the UK on the basis of 10-year residency. I didn't know. Akwenya benya na wanya indefinite leave no atrek room ha afeball. 10-year route no and what some mene lawyer Daniel Coy on Fortwell Solicitors. Baba twetwen ho komo. Jumadi ese na midi kan ye live e Facebook, sanso na YouTube e twagu ho. Afemu amukuta mo smartphone, mo tablet, mo iPad. Sand no nam GN radio app no. And I feel so tuning sounds on the radio guard in a twagu kama. The mud da hosonche. Some rage media because numbers here the juma 0203 735 8820 and 0203 286 0185. On any telephone numbers are Uchaba. The bejo so namum so person who contact a Fortwell Solicitors for the Papa mama tro numbers we go. The wage media now question B at the man Fortwell Solicitors and person 2 hour more. Around us over 079 44 976161. Message 079 44 976161 and I'll say one more line 0203 3257 030 or no office line no Fortwell Solicitors me lawyer Daniel Coy so there be a me can say some metric room has some internet room if you know so what you hear that you know na buko bisade say papa do way that just head am so that mama truck room and answer wa ba mako ariti sa that TNT so also person truck room there me pa ocho immigration sem fakot to ano na obedi aboa papa sabre men semre ye be man akwaba. Good morning Daniel Koy.
Good morning darling Jay.
Na bakwa there.
Oh, nyame adom boko na wo so e.
Adoma meto ka che. Enu ese bi hu
every hu a che so.
Na adwuma mu boko de.
Oh, nyame adom bibia.
Sisi ade o fa ba bia e Fortwell. Uko radio station ba bia ma fa ba bia. Social media ba bia.
Mon pai bo ne mon bo antia.
Nice one. You. Sabre ene yabeka indefinite leave to remain and who as on the basis of a 10-year residence in the UK. Topic started now shooting anko.
Yo, me da si darling J, me da si bebre, me chia etiefo so enano pay. Wow, joining me for the first time, you know, I won't see a program with your friend lawyer Daniel Coy, me fee Fortwell Solicitors, Fortwell Solicitors, in North London. About immigration, anything related to immigration, you know, me point-based application, skilled worker applications, human rights applications, appeals, judicial reviews. Bibia efa immigration biano oba me abwa ewo ye fee honum. Apart from immigration and so or other areas are practicing in. Very important. Central for Ebeshan so say ban family issues. Fortwell Solicitors, untimi enkaya ho bibia ama divorce matters, say bia akwala bia sema yema wonhu akwala no social services sabem ni niane ade a yebetimi aboa was our family issue no so employment matters we adwuma mu na wenya issues whether say unfair dismissal, wrongful dismissal, discrimination cases ni niane ade a yebetimi aiden edi ehu adwuma ama ban civil litigation and so you do ejuma into no do obi airtrim so you be court to be do canon peso betia ni ade a ye betimi ahwe na ye di ejuma amount. It's also statutory declarations, any affidavits, any change of name deeds into the Sawuti Minas, person was a within Abia within the CCI and ya would debut, what could not be for no dear Opesa was a son of fair no oba ye betting me a year and also at the amount into the way and Yaman for at almost and so one way more passports, how Muhia will be a witness more signature at the amamo. Namudiako Ghana High Commission, the office in the Ghana High Commission prepare one bus within 15-20 minutes we to Ghana High Commission or by betting ISI Edgeman and so on. These are little things that apart from immigration and conform aware no need to know say a betting a year a month for. Now a topic I choose here no a year 10-year long residence original so a day a year application for indefinite leave to remain. In from time to time, I'm catching our program is to say, lawyer, median woman, crata that internet MTA program, no, media, maybe be a yam and crata, the other, but Eda de Bia Casse, a Danny Dabiano, ye be bia to her, I am a foul. Into the area in himself and saying, Krumha, the commonest type of leave to remain, I incrophobia, a 1 year, 2.5 years. 2.5 years, no. Ubesheno, you were 10-year route, you were 5-year route, 5-year route, I do benya indefinite, you were 10-year route, I do benya indefinite. Now, and you be and I said, you bet me a call 5-year route, you know, so it be now personal situation, say, will stay on the 10-year route, and so now will indefinite. You know, 1 or 2.5 years, I will plan it, say, eventually, no be indefinite, and as well, affable, no, so discussion way, no, and who here, papa, because there are certain things that you need to be aware of. I have seen people almost 10-year route, almost application for indefinite. If you be and the questions then you realize why ye mistake be a lawyer and unkind trend and why ye mistake be na he was not aware of and I said she was not aware of now because of that incident 10 years never so crown polonais or twice obey another 2.5 years and another 5 years 10 years no could be 15 years and so when you're indefinite. So it's very, very important to say the rules that come with 2.5 years and I say basis I'll be to me age now so indefinitely leave to remain at the end of 10-year long residence. You know, we'll be taking note of it because and yet 2.5 years for pay in a always stay on this no indefinite. Once I wait now UK legally for 10 years, no matter the route now one, it may be possible say waiting a year application now when you will indefinitely leave to remain based on this immigration rule. It is very, very important. Say we number so now more question beyond so I'm waiting a bisa now. Going into it, you know, immigration rule a fa sa application where 276B of the immigration rules and no stipulated eligibility criteria I will be now so now what the ISR application where internet say who prepares a ISR application now it's important say ube familiarize it with that immigration rules and yes I want here na mistake if you on my work where now sika acquire then akwashi egu now maybe as I didn't say them lawyers and specialists solicitor na YSR application way among so application way a year application away if you on so many occasions and we do it over and over again. It may be helpful so obenya obia award the necessary experience our year previously amount for obetimi a year amount na home office fees I will be to and yes, it's over £2,000 for home office fees. You don't want to make a mistake with such an application because implications, can be there. It can be very, very costly in the long term. It is very, very important. Say, it's also important to note, say, there might be people that they will not qualify for indefinite leave to remain. However, obeko lawyer Bejini Sikase obeye sa application amount. And what will happen is a home office oversight say apart from over £2,300 of home office fees I will cheer for sa indefinite leave to remain. Home office Akacho said you do not qualify for it, but we are willing to give you further leave to remain because we want to NHS fees in today. Sabe to NHS fees, which is about £1,560 on top of the £2,300 now with you realize the implications of getting SAR application wrong, can be very costly. It will cost you time, it will cost you a lot of money. It's important you get it right. The second point I microphone is BBI your friend of super priority service. Yang Fortwell Solicitors we will be able to do for people. When it comes to super priority service, you rate me your application at home office and within 24 hours, you rate me in your decision at the amount. We will be open say who took echo baby, person bit now say I train 6 months, 1 year now, unkrata decision and by also na lawyer, minyama no him, now pe unyaman term now in your peace of mind. Oba, we are registered a bit me yes a super priority application a 1 day service at the amount and also one of the main reasons why you may consider said ube use solicitors now or my year application way amount. Now one of the difficulty parts and I said of the eligibility criteria the fact that in Crawford have to meet with their friend completion of 10 years lawful and continuous residence in the UK. Say home office worker chose say completion of 10 years lawful and continuous residence in the UK. Not just say wait Nakrum has a continuously without any break for the past 10 years. We will be over 2.5 years. We will be Ukra student visa. We will be Ukra work permit. But you are aiming said we be Nasa route way so now the Ukrata on the basis with Nakrum has a legally for 10 years. Now say we will be also a crap and no sorry now so Kofi me ko Ghana ba near the Nasa Oko Ghana Nasa Ukutina House saying for more than 6 months continuously. 1 year or 10-year long residence we a bit breaky, a bit cutting it short, and 1 year a bit me affect your application. So it is very, very, very important say in Crawford Ebeshen also say without that a yadia obey qualify. Intina say in Crawford a year application say who 2.5 years who any leave to remain, and that's a we application for further leave to remain. Home office for a case a year no between the last 28 days on Kratani Bewuno. The reason why I almost Kasane say so 1 year it's maybe a year do decision about do decision about now calculated 10 years now 1 year you will be short of that 10-year qualifying period which starts from the time you arrive in the UK with a visa and that's at the time I am first permission to stay in the UK. That's the time I started counting 10 years in the IFI. Incident say what kind of time about year application for indefinite. Now you are short of 10 years as some year now 1 year a bit me are affecting or application na obabe no na ya farm and that will be costly. So it will be very expensive, it will be time consuming as well. Another thing that I say so when making this application is the fact say and yes who fail for refusal on public interest or undesirability grounds. You see, anytime I obey application I call efficacy the Home Office need to consider say in Kratana 1 year application a 1 year a year a based on certain circumstances be representations be announced association or down for phobia now people that you are associated with they should be able to say unye desirable to stay in the UK and I say it will not be in the public interest for you to remain in the UK. That is something that people need to be aware of. Say, even sometimes, obi betimi akonya assembly and you bet you can be, but you might escape. You find you guilty. But the simple fact that you were associated with that group of people, so grounds where everything akacho because you catch say it is not in the public interest. These are indefinite leave to remain.
Wow.
If you are making any of these applications, now you have any criminal background or criminal convictions, or issues, it is very, very, very important. Say only lawyer ever discussing. But discussing it with the lawyer, the lawyer might be able to tell you, say, ABB and that's a BB. If you have had parking tickets, when you work court, and answer when you are driving without insurance, you're chill. The work of court when show up in court near there. Now, over any of those issues, it is very, very important. So at this stage, I'll say we get application for indefinite leave to remain. Only lawyer ever discuss it, because if you don't do that, it might be a problem. Now, we share Part 9 of the immigration rules now. Say application will be a friendly general grounds for refusal. So what backroom has say now what be maybe ABA we control be regarding application be as a way now you who near there. This is the part that a bit me affect to for and shadows. So that's the reason why we say anytime you are making an application, imperative, it's important say we'll be seeking professional help, because in Yaman Kitty you may think say why she are not a coffee been sent be at bro. Let's assume say ABA our real I find out say wako interview, yes, our running near our area papa a marriage of convenience yeah dear. Now we should try one twice will be with JTD. But what finding other means when you will crack at the time of making this application, why who is over and no say who ye obia you were trying to avoid immigration rules and answer who abuse immigration system, and for that reason, this particular grounds, so refuse you. It's important say application be obey any internet lawyer 100% application. You say what is your immigration history? How fast over Kumba? Why any application at home office that now? So why any application at home office that there are some normal kind refusal letter and away. These things beside these questions, because we want to make sure say we have all the facts available to us, and the application that we are making for you, we have been able to tackle anything. You ain't leave anything to chance. So they refuse your application. It's very, very key. Say as lawyer the crabby will be an catcher, and no be catcher say important. Say only ukru be kasa. I will be told kasa as a year. Now in same you or my own ferris or be catcher. So me say because if you be so you are very embarrassed about the situation. You think say telling the person might be an issue, and that's it. These are some of the things that we need to be aware of. And sana your application for indefinite leave to remain based on the fact that it's not has say for 10 years. Now ebimonso who say one of the biggest issues and that's problems and for a face, their friend life in UK test and an English language test. Say application for indefinite leave to remain. It is very, very difficult to say you want to get around meeting this requirement. Normally, if we are under the age of 18 years, and as we are the age of over 65 years, then it may not be necessary say over passes our exams. But any person in between the ages of 18 and 65 years, a very important say what passing life in UK test we meet English language requirement, which is level B1 in listening and speaking only. In a situation where over medical reasons I won't me because of that medical reasons, any application as intro exams, you may be able to get away with it, and only is something that we need to be aware of. So now ultimately my good reasons and answer ultimately the evidence about me amount advice kama na yetimi a application amount into the more learning difficulties. More musua obi ho say lawyer mesua mi hu ade mesua mi hu opa mi tikra na the shame enya ade me hu enya problem. If you can give us medical letter to support your situation, medical issue na you betimi the aboa na ya application without any issues for indefinite leave to remain.
Ma me fa we so mu na me misa question we quick. Efa exams no ho English test no. Sabe nyankopɔ bu bia different you bia na ebia me okay me ni medical condition bia but still me ya no me feel ono no kwanya bi wo ha metumi aka che home office for say me de me sua me hu me ntumi ntworo ntimi consider me me ni medical record bia.
Okay, you see a dear bako we need to be aware of, you know, especially in your backroom has say how we've come to realize in the same time at the work Ghana no darling J so kaya na ubehwe na classmates bi wo hono ma osuani din krampo ontimi nso ye be bonesa ne ade but we have come to realize say bia sa nipa no obeba krom ha na wenyi ntino you're diagnosing with any medical condition, okay? But over the years that we've been in UK, we've lived here, we've and have encounters with the medical profession. Yeah, we've come to realize so we will be our school na sebe still no usia unhua 9 out of 10 no medical condition you are not aware of. So what need to happen is say usiana school na usiana unhua there is definitely a medical condition that you need to be diagnosed with. In such situation, instead of catch home office for say home office for adiana mosi minko ma try misuya emba into the store no monfa and krata and mama
because adding kakra despite everything adding kakra.
Oh darling J and that for my better
adding
so to me I say better very 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 difficult and it was a few days ago that me will be a can asem or say lawyer I say because you have 800 pounds now almost share me life in UK test and I'm see ukoto book na be 25 pounds or 26 pounds so bet me sure see lawyer who dey win him their work ye be anything crown how the shame crown pa ye the book need too many more of exams from one crown enya dey make natural pass until we do appreciate the fact say even though it may be easy for majority of people no enyo bia na sa language test in their life especially life in UK test no we language test in crown they are na but life in UK test so I do appreciate that. However, unless you say you have a medical condition, unless you say there is a compassionate reason, now 65 and that's only below the age of 18, it will be very difficult say home office for a member of Quina Omode indefinitely to remain amount. What they will tell you, they say,
lawyer, mammy, so way quickly. What about Obi or Sabi illiterate? I mean, so one school cry. No one ya Quenyaba, Abetraha, na a cobase or so no sano on the grounds or illiterate no, on be consider no.
They would expect to say Nipana. Sebe or ye illiterate will rather make arrangement to go and study or beko a school nwako sua na wetimi apase. They will not say because or ye illiterate into ye the man there be that is something that we need to understand.
But that's a difficult one.
It's a difficult one, but that unfortunately that is what the expectation is, especially what they are saying. The reason why a lot of lawyers or a lot of legal people have not been able to challenge this requirement. And they say, in a situation where when indefinite leave to remain, you can always apply for further leave to remain until so be passing exams.
But say it's
yes, unless you say wait naturally say uni sika out the application, and then they will do it for you on fee waiver basis. So I say apart from that, say but you need to know say wouldn't me evidence number you are going to struggle. Into the two things. either so be trace and so no pass it, and now so be copy evidence like trace or medical condition. Now it's immediate or the and that's all disability be based on that thing. And yeah, there your priority the shame crown ba ubehu. And only a very, 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 very important. And yes, I'll be issues, and we don't want a situation whereby that will happen. Another thing is what rules and as application where a come ourselves. So we have paragraph 39E. I must say you should not be in the UK currently in breach of the immigration laws. It is very, very, very important. Say, ABR Obakrum has say the amount 2.5 years, and that's the amount student visa amount any sort of legal leave. Maybe when you see 2.5 years, even though I don't know very common with a lot of people. You know, very important. Say anybody who has been in UK legally for 10 years, you know, can apply for indefinite leave to remain. And only is something that you can use to get this application done. However, at the time I obey your application, you should not be in breach of any immigration rules. So visa ABR or check here or yeah calculation, I can obey 1 month and send away the 10 years but unyan the 10 years in the say now we 10 years so that would trend so answer na why this may be able to affect you. This might be the grounds are on which now so at the application amount. So we calculation, not account a few days and not a month and so now we 10 years. That's still no own person will be to us can why further leaves to remain. At that very moment, I'll advise you say well no lawyer ever discuss it, because what can happen is lawyer betting me a use strategy be at the year na ama in yama I long ama waiting the application to amount on time. However, my own fingerprint. However, in fact will supporting documents in the encore in time. Into the time I was supporting documents in the connect for 10 years now. There was so many tricks in the book and our strategies are betting me a use to at the application so that he will be able to meet that gap now. And what a honor yes a betimi akose problems at the amount.
Like promotion kakra. Like I said, there are so many tricks bia omonombe faso etumi abo ama kata samakuyi. Inti we may come a womo na mo koye kata oh we dey say we dey me call me to me wo kokoko now premier tab wis afina wodu ani eche a lawyer fufi debi. This is the time. The earlier you do it, the better, because maybe I may recommend it, but regardless, but seba law immigration some will crew her party a papa mammy. Bombardier fa kato castle. Send the alcohol pekama, or call a dosna, or spend it a talk a nam abab and warrior with the problem. So I'm so number immigration some in here. And yet them did you don't get me wrong. In here pa me poat some to make catcher no. Na fa kato kaso ko hu lawyer na relax o mo ba ye bibia e ba lawyer for na o ba ye bibia onti me kanfo Fortwell Solicitors e de amount bomodia Fortwell Solicitors ikrum ha o mo nye na e ba family issues just say na e kan immigration ko a ukun ebuleu oyiri ebuleu a dwan ko mo nchen ko bo mo amane they do with it e ba probate law worse. Yes, yeah, the entire words. Say, this can where they want to be near. Oh, God, dear, that would be ja. Ninja say, oh, be a big was up so yeah, willa. Me pacho also who Fortwell Solicitors na more more, not just a bibia and kono wa no wano. On inti ena yedisa womono. On so mutia. No mamma abe mouth free legal education. A juma way and you free you. Who don't they are paying the radio station to do this show for your benefit. Inti ade na won so to ho na won so to awo mo no mo nye wadwuma en fa ma na ho nto get your peace of mind. Inti afuto kakam de be mati afuni. Lawyer, answer questions kakra ba mobile phone studio line so metumi aka ma watumi say hawa.
Actually, to me, I can whilst we continue with some of the because that and I said we I don't elaborate naka said the bayan confirm if you say we are not ignoring them no. But 20
we grab question with free Ghana Ghana number them who say good morning, hope you are good, please I apply for EUSSFP. On the other.
Also, or your application for them.
Or apply for EUSS.
Okay.
FP for my dependent.
Okay. EUSS family permits.
Okay. For my dependent, but Home Office refused and claimed that they are not certain my dependent lives at the place I've rented for them in Ghana. And they want him to prove his financial circumstance. Obisa said, is it legal? Should I appeal or make a fresh application? And what are my chances at the court?
Medasi bebre, darling J, say obi unse last week, you know, yeah, topic discuss omamuti and I'm say lawyer PK na discuss and the series that we were running last week, you know, was dealing with refusal decisions from the Home Office. So we hear application at Home Office, not year refuse you are. We say me fresh application and I say me appeal. Very difficult for me to sit here and make a decision without seeing the type of evidence I want the car application.
Yep.
Okay. I need to be able to examine that evidence now with the car application for me to see say okay. And some na omoka chose kofa as the documents no say kofa brand. Is this something you will get or you will not get it? Because obi ho no benya, obi also onya. Obi also obenya evidence ni bi, but onya ni nia. Sort me say. And in such situation, it may be better say obey appeal. Because their own person obey say obey fresh application with a new evidence. Not so you be say then ejina so as a refuse you. Not just say okoya na say buy. Intino yenya bema na yenya ba or send us a message. Mesro say after the program, you will get in touch. The good news is you're in charge for consultation. You bet me access or refusal letter.
No, they got a Ghana number.
Offer emailing. Your friend now offer emailing. Now you share the refusal letter together with the supporting documents now. Or they can't acquire. After we've assessed those documents, and you are finding out which other documents or what our one fan application. And after we've known all that, I can be able to advise them, say, a very fresh application, and I say, yeah, we appeal. It is also important to understand, say, in making that decision, whether say you be appeal and as a very fresh application, we also need to know the current circumstance of the applicant. Mamima a typical example. Ebia darling je ukakofa wofa CB aba. Una ushe wofa CB or Ghana. Wofa seno we di 20 years. Okay, at the time we year application ebia we year AEU ni ina ujina we year so na mukakofa mobana aba. At the time we year application aklane di 20. What the all the documents are a war a who here is what they call would they come efficacy for ama reason na de ma ye nearby in my age now so a refuse warfare by the time I refuse and buy if you hold man 6-7 months and send a decision ebeba until the year assessment na akwala we did 21 sort me say the type of application and now you bet me I man 6 months ago and yet the same application you bet me I am current because it's your plan and fear in such circumstances there is no talk about any fresh application. The only option available ASL be appeal into the new evidence and as whatever we have the best appeal into no yenia difficult for us to answer those questions without seeing the full facts.
Obviously, Parky, why? So, greetings. Greetings, boss. Okay, thank you. And also say, I heard lawyers saying, sir, if you are going to do indefinite leave to remain in the UK, parking offences are also taken into consideration. Which of the parking is it? The private parking or the government and the boroughs parking offences? Is it the parking force that relate to the government or the private parking issues?
Okay. Let me maminchemu na yenti yeho asi ewo ehonum. When meka say parking offenses may be considered, okay, I'm not talking about say when your tickets near the abroad now with chia there be. Normally no when your tickets near the abroad now with chia straight away we okay. I'm talking about the persistent offenders and when your tickets when your tickets the name courts those are the ones that we are talking about. You know, a simple parking ticket with chia there. You can just ignore it. But any one be went to the extent say it had to go to court, we may have to declare it. And not necessarily say a be affected application, but if you're the local court in your convicted I'm talking about the government ones, the public ones, council for the aquaculture, you just have to let them know. It may not affect the application in any way, but it's all more
not just someone who's
yes, but and yes, so nobody refuse your application.
Okay. Where so say question we about the other or say I will be applying for my 2.5 years. I will be extending my 2.5 year route. I understand there's too much delays at the Home Office right now. I'm scared because of maybe my work will ask me to stop work. So what can I do?
Okay. So issue where I think say we have discussed it a number of occasions, but mesa to me bo achichimo. Or a number of options. Say upeso we your application for renewal. Okay. Now usro say ebia we do for ebe how for one reason
because there's a lot of delays.
What you need to do is to ask your solicitor, say, obey me, I 1 day service amawana. Okay, me, I always tell my clients, I always tell people I speak to say,
no, one day.
Oh, yeah, it's me a 1 day application.
But that's going to cost.
Yes. So, open say, 1 day service, Emma, I reach me present to application amount, and by the next day, now decision about we need obia any assem, so we'll see car.
Especially when you are renewing, I said the Anna is straightforward. You need to pay more to get a quick decision. Is that correct?
You can pay more and get good. And yet all the time we put a year renewal. Even if a first time a year application for 2.5 years crown, it's near same day service amount. We have ways and means of dealing with it. If you have a lot of fear and concern, just be aware that there are options available. However, and non dan chance because someone dan chain in from adding. Somebody might just not have the means and ways of paying so expensive money to get the application done into the person normal. If you become a person say if you waiver account 6 months, then by 7 months, not yet training, go back and forth. In situations like that, my main tremor say you will be a friend in section 3C leave. Under the immigration rules. Once you have submitted your application in time before we current leave to remain will leave to remain is automatically extended.
Okay.
Under section 3C leave. Okay. And for that reason, all that your employer needs, ASA Uber send it will checklist, at the amano. Even technically, Crampon, you don't need to show your employer the checklist. Technically, all you have to do is to give your employer the reference number, the application reference number. If you give the application reference number, your employer have your date of birth, your full name. Your employer can do what we call ECS check, employee checking service, government website, or now all the side details. The Home Office will then confirm, say, you have a pending application, and for that reason, they have a statutory defense, and that document now is valid for 6 months. Within the next 6 months, your employer has no right to harass you or embarrass you at your place of work. Your employer needs to use that document way. If at the end of the 6 months, a decision has not been received by the Home Officer, all that your employer has to do, and yes, sir, or befro, kojomenu unkrat and the fabra, yes, I mean, chiao, and I kojomenu for krat and rice, I mean, big, but there be all that your employer has to do again is to go and do that with checking, and then you will get another 6 months document. Do you understand? You know, I find it very frustrating, and when clients or when people who have pending applications are being harassed at their places of employment. Sometimes, you know, almost per way you did that, per quite be so that. Then you have eager HR staff members who are ignorant of what the rules are saying.
That's correct.
And quickly, near see a suspended, quickly see if a year application in Mawa, I always tell them, tell the HR manager to send me an email directly, and I will educate them and show them the reason why they have no right to tell you to go and sit at home.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah, if they ask you to stay at home, ask them, say, ECS check na omo year, and omo fa copy amount, and send a wakofie. Very, very, very important. You know, but in saying this, you know, it is important to understand that omo year application and the appendix E, you know, section 3C leave, you know, may not apply to them. Omono, they only have their leave extended after they have received certificate of application. Into this, we year application because we EU new create EU then foul as dependent of an EU national. Rules are different, and I will entreat you or advise you to speak to your solicitor, who will be able to give you further information and details on how to protect your employment.
Okay, we also see I've lived in this country for 15 years, and I've met my fiancée, who is a British born. We intend to get married. Are we supposed to get married here, or are we supposed to go to Ghana?
Yeah, baby, I will be worried in itself. You know, it's a matter of choice. Okay. So open say we hear application we hear marriage ceremony in Ghana, and also a matter of choice. You need to ask yourself, if I am a boka, if I am a boka, if I am a busia for if I am a busia for the betting about. But
I presume say Bema no oni krata or so what 15 you need.
I perfectly understand say oni krata. The reason why I na nkrofo prefer say Ghana na I'm going to explain.
Okay.
Normally, no, say unni enkrata na say opese worry UK. You need to know and you need to be aware, say the local authority, will notify the Home Office. The Home Office will then have to investigate whether say awarena wo ware wo yireno ana wo kunu no. Is it because wunni enkrata na enti na opese ware no, and I say genuinely no opese oyeden o ware no? That is something that you need to be aware, say the Home Office is going to find out. Sometimes, in so doing, they will wrongfully conclude, say, oh, our arena will worry because unni enkrata and intina will worry.
It's always an assumption.
Assumption, and I say based on evidence, if you and I say it could be so many things. Until sometimes people don't want all the hassle. If you all know on pese obeying than obeying a wedding or not Home Office for Abba wedding, I say near best saying the wedding on pay all the struggle. Until on yawa okoyofi no Abba. That is the reason why many people decide to go back home. But you can perfectly do it in UK if you are happy to go through all the checks and balances they have put in place to ensure, say, in Crawford and far our rear sham and koye and koje and krata. And only something that you need to be aware
of. As
an
interview, very rigorous, like the reality of the whole relationship. Is that correct?
Yes.
But Ghana, I know they're easy.
Oh, so uko Ghana no hona wotie Ghana ni sorting ya say wo yirino anase ukunu na odi wechi na one wo akọ Ghana no ebeji residence permit anase obeji visa say okọ Ghana akọware okọ Ghana obeba the necessary notice no. They don't care say mo ka say oh ube worry because of enkrata 17 eba chu on the wedding day into wedding ebe koso kama so it gives you peace of mind. Into the marriage ceremony in itself, one issue. The second issue is after the marriage ceremony, we then need to decide, say, can you do the application to stay here, to regularize your stay in the UK, or you have to go back home? And we have said on this platform on so many occasions, say, with the immigration rules, any court cases are also over the years. Say, oh, worry obi a oye British, and as oh worry obi a okra indefinitely leave to remain. Now at the date of marriage, unni enkrata, na munni ebanswa. It is almost impossible, very difficult, unless you can show compassionate reasons or exceptional circumstances. And yet at the await me a year application. So application, you will realize that at that stage, you may have to go to Ghana and I say, baby, I will see our enkrata out to go and make the application. In so doing, you realize that they will decide, say, if a semi call Ghana and I made the application in Kotuma, and the other time I'm going to I mean, you are not twice with the application. These are some of the factors that we need to consider, but obia circumstance will be different. There may be somebody who may not be able to go to Ghana to make an application because of the exceptional circumstance. There may be somebody who be a nipana or warren or no. Make same-sex marriage. Do you understand? Same-sex marriage, only mean Kowari or Ghana. What me say? This or Oware Ewaha. And as Oware Ewaha, we na also Kofi no akosamiti application. Yeni the current climate regarding the issues of same-sex marriage. If such a person ain't doing application, it will fear. Such a person may be able to submit the application within the UK because there are exceptional circumstances preventing such a person from going back home to submit the application to come back. The rules are there, but there may be circumstances I'll be to so application without any issue.
Nice one, well explained. You know, as papa, you after the you bet me at why indefinite leave issue no so.
Okay. Whilst you're trying if callers to come in, I'll quickly move on to areas of previous overstaying in between periods of leave. UK has seen. So, we have application for indefinite leave to remain on the basis that has legally. One of the things that you need to be watchful for, and also one of the things you need to identify is whether there have been any gaps in your leave to remain. You can't say gaps up. Obi 2.5 years. Okay. And also student visa. Na ne visa ne eba ebewu, let's say ne visa ne bewu on the 6th of December. Now one find the application anchor tune on the 6th of December. No, I can na ebia on the 7th and I say on the 8th of December. No, a friend lawyer, me krata ne wo 2 days ago. Na mi nimukra na mi refi kra na mi kaiba na mi nisika into the krata ne wo meet me in den obeba nyame ya adoma ye beji application e de amount. But you realize that from the time krata ne wo on the 6th of December no odin krata ne ekoma wo lawyer on the 7th of December obe prepare documents ne e call home office for no. You will not have leave to remain between the 6th of December until the time a home office for any new leave to remain into that gap abedin. A big problem.
Wow.
A big problem because previously before 24th November 2016, if we hear application within 28 days of expiry, what the rule says is they can ignore it. I ignore say abia ovesani wu o train my gap every day just 28 days home office for everything I ignore when considering an application for indefinite leave to remain. However, from 24th November 2016, so we hear application that's a gap a year. If in any gap be a paragraph 39E of the immigration rules ever apply, which therefore means say one year application will be or 10 years chima we nya proper explanation be anase bibi anfa nka ho anfa nkwa enya de omode will indefinitely leave to remain into the sremo mo 2.5 years because more about ewa ha Amunim say anytime they have application, so long as our ban will crew mahano, yet the crata and the amount. Don't take it for granted. See amount 2.5 years, no akoda. Now on crata be wait na because 1 year you will have to restart your 10 years again. Very, very, very important. Something that people need to understand. What I also said was with our absences, the gaps, is the fact say so immigration rules now say continuous residence. Until they can't continuous, it shouldn't be broken. Until more obi honoma or 2.5 years. 2.5 years in a baby akabe 3 months, not 2 months, na in kratan ewu, na okogana no akutina na kratan ewu. Then he wants to come back. Next year we struggle to get fresh application for that person. If I chop money, very careful because this rule may be able to affect you. Ghana now could start Ghana for a very long time. You will have a problem. Intino share home office for now. They do not have discretion for absences in excess of 540 days in total, or 180 days at a time. Intino, for instance, may check it for 10 years. Now, out of that 10 years, wait now outside the UK for 540 days in total. Home Office for do not have any discretion. They have to refuse the application. And let's say you have exceptional circumstances, I'll be to me and as a compelling or compassionate circumstances, and if wait now outside the UK for more than 180 days at a time, which is 6 months at a time, and also we break it or continuous residence, and also ever affected. These are some of the things that people need to take notice of within the 10 years.
Okay. Well explained. Now, that brings a nice question. I'm young person will be say. So, be was to say 2.5 years. Ebia HB will be renewed. Ebia also, my main ko Ghana and ko ye be quickly emergency. Or ko there's this new regulations. Minim say a temporary. Obi ako Ghana yɛmfa no sɛ Nigeria for sisi yɛ do ato ready ontumi ma no nipa no saa no saa nipa no ne chances ne yɛ no bɛyɛ
say Home Office for omoye bibia na they always put an exception somewhere. When you look at the rules say the Home Office caseworker need to consider whether the absence was due to a compelling and compassionate reason. In a situation whereby a Nipano akko baby to say Nigeria na wakoye stranded honum for more than 6 months period, or what evidence say he went to Nigeria with a ticket set or back on this time, but Okoye near almost to red list, so
that's right.
Until he had to stay any problem. You need to explain it. What that means is say at the time of application, you need to explain it. But it is very, very, very important. Say, next week, we have to come back to the same topic because there are so many angles to this topic. I don't think the time will permit us to mention. But mention we will need to discuss what has say on EA rules. So ebia oba ha say ne yire ananiku ne kofa ne bae onigria or EU ni akofa ne figana aba. Then during the time maybe our na be good but we oba no switch it to 2.5 years. So how do you combine EA rules to normal immigration rules to meet 10-year rules for you to make an application? And then there's something that I think I will need time to explain because a idea in brain form, and I said they've struggled to understand the basis of making such applications. I want to hear about cause more problems. Discuss say or has say with immigration bill. Say during the time I what has say last time with different but at the time we did 10 years who immigration bill. What is the basis of making such an application? As a crime the type of documents here to make such an application. Now, some person we application, Emma or family members and so on what basis now waiting here. If you also as a application now won't qualify for indefinite leave to remain. Give it to me amount 2 years, further leave to remain, and now saying to me amount. These are some of the topics that And I said some of the parts of the topic are and then me and discuss it. We will be going into next week. Into the more I'm went to me and Fred and some question. Say I can wait me and after the program and I'll answer your questions. But next week, I'll be more than happy to continue with this topic and explain these areas for your listeners.
On that note, just waka sama na be sitam na so eti ja odi ala jenem si be ja wasi ha me wa question bi aba by WhatsApp, but I don't myself to me explain here.
But you may explain
around up. I say, how can a parent in the UK demonstrate sole parental responsibility for a child in Ghana? For 5 years, she hasn't gone to visit the child in Ghana. What are the consequences?
Okay, so obi oba eufie ba. Now you need to be able to demonstrate sole parental responsibility. We tend to tell people say and yet necessarily say this sikape eko fie no and you need to rely on sikape going home is not the answer to sa issue.
Okay.
It is very, very important to say ube demonstrate say you are taking part in the everyday life of that child. Into when it comes to decision making for the school no issues to do with how the child is doing well in school, all those things, and you are involved. Acquiring medical care, we are involved. So we need evidence on how involved you are. You see, Obi Hodoma uncle fear for the last 5 years for one reason or the other. He might have a reason why I want to be employed. If such a person is able to explain this to the Home Officer, he will get away with it. So when you are explaining now, as you say, oh, now me the documents when you are is enough. The Home Office should understand, say, then your application will be affected. Technically, Mecca Chenkrofor say may not be an issue. It all depends on how you present that application. But may you see this opportunity to warn people, say, Sikape aye transfer ma akwalano is not good enough for you to say, no parenting or sole parental responsibility. It goes beyond you just transferring money to that child, and you need to be able to demonstrate it when making that application.
I hope sir, me our day message about what you was superb. Yes, come to show more evidence. I just say you are into the life of your own son or your own child. It is send a doctor, lawyer can say open home a year, obi to me Fortwell Solicitors for or a lawyer for Kuku Dam. I one penny back on the neck. Yen no etwetwe nkomo ewo eye ahoma isui nti yademu besi ha emre no anya ayebe nyame yadoma dasene obesa ba mokwamu na ni orusu adi eho abobu eye mamelen ono so ba ba gina kunwa ene de mbetran mu de ma no nti yade dwuma de no besi ha lawyer yado asibebre na se de waka next week nyame yadoma yebeshia
yo bye.
Okay, and nyame yadoma yade dwumadi no ebesie Daniel Coy, I was Fortwell Solicitors, and I'm attending Kenny. And me try mama Ellen. You're from a darling jail. Your boy at Chidom. Me and Fidie no. They produce Jumedi. DJ Big Joe. AK Adia Pena. What Jumama and I correct. Where you for fra? A free Empress gift to all. I say, wow. Yeah, they are very, Sabre, ye free Facebook no so. Na ya Dani ni ako radio no so. Enti meka baba kesia pa. Edi ama Facebook viewers mo amoba so nyina aseda enko emamo. Sa so na YouTube for mo so aseda enko emamo. Makrabo. Na metisa mi amitiye.
Soku kwa ye petro